So we're taking a look at the International Space Station, and notice that the icon for the International Space Station is traveling under Australia. It's going to curve up and then go over North America. So let's take a look at what would happen if we were to say park our car at the beach and turn on our radio and see if we can hear the digital packets that are being sent from the International Space Station. Now we have about 30 minutes from the time that the space station goes under Australia until it gets to North America. Now, once we're set up at the beach, we can use an application called Heavens Above to help us recognize when the space station is coming up over the horizon and when it's directly above us. Now, as soon as we can see the International Space Station coming up over the horizon using the Heavens Above application, we're going to flip over to another application called APRS-Droid. And what this does is to show us the text messages that we're receiving over the radio from the International Space Station, and it converts those X.25 packets into text messages that we can read on the screen. Now, as it turns out, all the text messages that we see on the APRS-Droid app are not necessarily being broadcast from the International Space Station. This is because our radio doesn't recognize the difference between a signal coming from a mile away down the street versus up above from 200 miles away from the International Space Station. So what we can do is we can log into the Amateur Radio International Space Station.net website and confirm which packets actually pass through the digipeater on the International Space Station. So notice that on the right we see the APRS-Droid application on our phone that interpreted the X.25 signals, those audio scratching noises, into text messages. Then over on the left we see the official Amateur Radio International Space Station.net website that reports what text messages actually pass through the International Space Station, and here we have a match. We're looking at a spreadsheet that indicates all the call signs that were noticed on this orbit by the International Space Station. Now, the column on the left indicates the call sign. The first call sign is RS0ISS, that's the International Space Station, followed by a number of other call signs that represent citizens in the United States of America. Now, the colors in the middle and on the right represent whether or not the signal actually got to the International Space Station and whether or not it got received down below. Yellow indicates that the International Space Station received the message, but my radio did not. Red represents the fact that my radio did receive a message, but the International Space Station did not. Here we're taking a look at the first contact on this orbit from KF1BUZ, just in the Reno area, so more towards the western side of the United States. Now also, let's take a look at the east coast side of the United States. So in Hartford, Connecticut, we can see K1WY also being able to reach out and connect to the International Space Station. So to make this example work, all we really need is a radio like the Baofeng here on the left. We need an Android smartphone here on the right. And we need this cable that basically goes from the microphone on the radio over to the headset jack on the Android smartphone.